to the room where the green vibes flow, where the lights shine bright and the knowledge will grow. From soil to the sun, we'll master the art. To grow room's the place, let's spark up the start. To grow room where the secrets bloom. Plant your dreams, watch them consume. We'll guide the buds to a perfect tune. Step inside, it's the grow room.
Good morning, everybody.
Hey, everyone. How's it going?
Mucho with his cowboy hat on.
Woohoo!
You feeling better, Mucho?
Yeah, much better, much better. Yeah, I had to go around with food poisoning last weekend, and it was not fun.
Oh, man, that sucks.
Yeah, but I'm much better now, so
That's good.
I'm ready to
All right,
rock.
guys. So I cloned my plants wrong last week, and the clones died. Don't follow my directions on the way I cloned them last week. We're gonna clone them correctly this week. Everything will be good. Hopefully they work. It works, but we'll see. Um, I did. I cut the tops off last week, and actually, I've noticed a big difference. They've actually grown a little taller compared to what they were. I don't know if you guys can see in there or not because of the light. Um, but they've grown much taller. Another
Heck
couple
yeah,
inches.
maybe a flip for too long.
I'm gonna flip them next week.
Let's say they're ready.
Yeah, I'm gonna flip them next week, and we're gonna go till probably July, August area.
Yeah, I'm about 1 month in on my auto flowers. Yeah, they're about a foot tall,
Did you plant them in the
maybe a
ground
little.
already? Did
Huh?
you put them in the ground already?
Oh yeah, yeah. They've been outside for 3 weeks. I never. As soon as they were big enough to go outside, I put them out. I got me
Yeah.
some chicken wire and made like a little basket to go over the top of it, and then I covered that with plastic. Works brilliant. Works
Nice.
brilliantly. Little micro greenhouses for outside.
Nice.
Plus, it also helps to heat up the soil around the seedling, so the seedling actually stays warm. Made a
Right.
big difference. Huge difference. I mixed up a bunch of my own soil using the cocoa core. I did something different this time. I used duck water. I got a swimming pool. I have ducks, and they like to get in there and swim every day, and their water is just nasty, nasty. And I got to thinking, I was like, man, that's some pretty good water right there.
Right.
'Cause it's got duck poop in it. But ducks are filter feeders, so they'll go around through the leaves and the grass. They eat whatever, and they get lots of dirt in their mouth. They get lots of microorganisms, fungi, but they have to clean their palate every now and then. That's what a lot of the dirt in my duck water is. So I was sitting there thinking, I was like, man, that's got all kinds of like natural mycorrhiza and bacteria. It's already got digestive enzyme. So I use that to reconstitute my core. I use duck water. Probably one of the best decisions I've made lately. I mean, there's a marked difference. Marked difference.
Well,
So
you feed them. Do you feed them fish?
yes,
Is
whenever I
that
go fishing, they usually get minnows and stuff like that that's left over. But their diet's pretty much organic grasses, grubs, worms, bugs, beetle. So I mean, it worked out really well. So if you got ducks or you have access to duck water, use it.
I was actually thinking about using like there's a river over here by me. I was thinking about using some river water to see how that would do because of all the fish stuff that's in there. But I was thinking about all the other microorganisms that are in it, and I was like, I don't know if it'll be good for the plant. But then I think about it, and I'm like, well, trees grow in water, and usually the trees that are in water are huge.
Yes. Um, I used to take in a couple of years ago. I was doing minnows. I had minnows at my house. I had a big trough, and I would raise minnows, and I would get the minnow water, and I would use it to water my plants, and it seemed to work really well because, I mean, it's fish water.
I recently met somebody that has a grow setup where they use fish tanks, and they have
Mhm.
fish in the fish tanks, and they use the water to water the plants. And that's
I've
actually the
seen,
best water to use because it's got all the fish poop in it, and it's got all the stuff that the fish have in it, all the, like the fish oils and stuff like that.
mhm. I've
So I,
seen I've seen videos online, and you can probably everyone, if you're watching, you can go Google it as well, or YouTube it. There are people that actually use giant stock tanks that are full of tilapia, like
yeah,
and they'll the same thing. They'll pump the water out of there and use it to hydroponically feed their tomatoes and cucumbers and da 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 da. Well, at the end of the year, after so long, I guess those tilapia are on the menu also. So they'll go out there and they'll dip out a bunch of fish and eat those as well. But they're using the fish water to feed their plants, and it's working really well.
nice. So yeah,
So it is.
we're gonna clone these again. It's not like I don't have enough plant gear. They're not as tall as I'd like, but I know they're growing indoors. But the idea for these four clones is to go outside.
There you go.
So I have
Yeah,
my heat mat right here. I have my soil warm. I have all my stuff. My stuff is pretty much ready. My soil's ready. Um,
I'm going to be ready to clone probably in about 2 more weeks, 3 more weeks.
yeah, I figured I'd let them go for a couple months before I clone and let them get taller. And these things have grown huge from what I got them as. They were like this tall when I got them, you know, and
Yeah,
now they're
mine going
usually 3 feet.
from seed to weed. Yeah, it's this long agonizing process. At least when you get a clone from somebody, the hard work's already done, you know.
Right, right. Um, but I'm using Clonex again because this shit was like $40.
Oh
So
yeah, absolutely.
I might as well use it up.
You know,
Last week, when
I
I
was
did Mucho,
talking.
I don't know if you remember telling me this, but what I did was when I cloned them, I cut the tops off and I tried to clone the tops, and
Uh-huh.
I cut the stem into in the four. Well,
Yes,
that's what killed them.
really.
Yeah, I don't
And
know if I
you
did it
you
too high
determined
up.
you determined that how?
Uh, they were limp later on that day. The tops were folded right over, and I was like, yeah, I don't think these are gonna make it. They tried, but it didn't work. I pulled them out like 4 days later, and I didn't even get not one root started.
You're gonna have to agree to disagree on that because I've been cloning like that for 15 years and I've yet
Really?
to experience that. So um
Maybe I did it up
I
too
was
high.
gonna
Maybe.
say that I do not use liquid cloning gels anymore. I have never had luck with them. I've always had better luck with powder. But yeah, I've done that for 15 years and never had a problem. So
Hmm.
I'm not sure what's going on. I
I
also
think I did it
clone
up too
bottom
high.
limbs. I don't ever clone tops. So,
Well, I figured I'd try it.
but it's cool. It's good that you tried. You know, if you got something that works, stick with it. You know, when I do clones, I'll probably do a little video about doing it.
Yeah, you should. And then you got you should send it to the hippie and we can post it.
Oh, absolutely. I just yell "grow, damn it" every day.
Grow, damn it, grow. Um, but I'm gonna do some lower branches this time. I gotta see a couple smaller ones. I can do. Um, and then we'll
Well,
go
number
from
one,
there.
I usually stick up, up stick my plant, 3 or 4 or 5 sticks. The first 3 or 4 nodes usually come off when I'm growing outdoors. So that's why I always make clones out of those. I'll make lots of clones. I've made more clones than I can count out of bottom limbs. A lot of people are like, "Oh, bottom limbs, don't clone those, don't do this, don't do that." I've quite honestly, it's always worked for me. Uh, I've never really cloned tops. I've always went. I need them to get tall, not bushy.
Well,
Did you water them with bong water again? Uh-oh. Sounds
no.
like sounds like Hippie knows your secrets.
I use spring water. Actually, I use natural spring water because its pH is the same every time. I don't have to worry about pHing it. I don't have to worry about adding chemicals to it.
Yeah, it's been raining. God dang, it's been raining at my house. I haven't had to water my plants in 2 weeks.
Have you did you plant them in the ground or did you put them in buckets?
Nope. My seedlings went from the little tiny cups that you seen them in last to their final resting place. They're there.
Which is
They're in their home.
which is in the ground.
Yep.
You put them in the ground this time.
Yep. Yeah, I only had to deal with one transplant shock, and that was going from their little cup to the ground. But like
Yeah,
I said, I
that's
made little baskets, so I went and warmed up the soil for them, and I mean, I made sure it was optimum conditions. They transitioned outside after they left my window. They went out to my greenhouse for about a week, to get used to the chilly nights and just being outside. And after that, I planted them, and it's off to the races now. I'm super impressed with the Mephisto seeds, the auto flowers. Vigorous growth, vigorous growth.
nice.
But the Great Balls of Fire from Ethos, I think it's going to be as build where they're like, don't grow it if you can't have it in a place that you can't have smell. Because even as a tiny little, it's not even a foot tall yet, and I'll go out there and I'll mess with it a little bit, and it just smells like a skunk sprayed you in the face. It's going to be a bang. It's going to be a banger. It's going to be a good one.
Right. um.
Hello, once again, you guys do us a big favor too if you do. Hit the like and subscribe button. To help us out here. Share us out to your friends,
Yes. Please
and
share us out to your friends.
especially Jimmy. He's lonely.
I'm lonely.
But yeah, share us out. If anybody, any 420 friends, anybody wants to know about it, share us out. And how'd the plants die, bro? Lack of light or love? Sometimes they just don't make it.
They have plenty of light. It's more. I think it was more along the lines of I probably should have tried to clone the top. I wanted to top them anyway because I want two buds, two big buds.
Mhm.
Um, but I probably should have just tossed the tops. But
Yeah, like I say, I've always just made. I always found that the stronger hormones on a younger plant are in the lower limbs. That's why I've always lowered, just made lower limb clones. It's just the
right,
way I was taught. The growers that were teaching me way back when, this is what they did. This is what I did. I should probably research and maybe up my game a little more. But like I said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
right.
In my case.
Um, yeah, like I said, these things when I got them, they were really small. They've grown a lot. Um, I'm real happy with them. I'm really hoping that I get a lot of product out of these. I'm hoping these four clones make it. I'm not gonna split the bottoms this time. I'm just gonna clone them like normal. We'll see how they do. And I'm also gonna start two seeds today.
Ooh,
Um, I
what
have
variety?
I got the lady I got these from gave me some some Skittles. And
Skittles. Yeah.
she gave me two autoflower seeds, which I'm gonna start one of those. And I also found in last time I went to Michigan, I got two really good strains, and I found one seed in each.
Ooh, gifts.
So I think I'm gonna start one of those, and because it's starting to warm up finally now, so by the time it's ready to go outside, it'll be nice enough outside to where I can put it outside.
Yeah. Now that I know that you're growing every time because I sit here with the weather on all the time. if I'm not watching something about growing, like agriculture or history, or science, then it just stays on the weather. That's all,
Right.
on YouTube. I just pick me up. So every time it goes over your part of the country, I'm like, oh shit, Jimmy.
Yeah, we've been getting some rain lately these last couple days.
Yeah, rain and sleet and freezing rain and snow and
Look at this. A 3-leaf pot leaf.
dang,
It's got holes in it, that's why I ripped it off.
a three. Yeah. Usually when I take anything less than five as a sign of maybe getting stretched out. How old are those? How old is the mother plant?
Well, these 4 plants that I have, they're 2 months old. Probably a little longer than that because I don't know when she cloned them. I didn't get the date. I didn't get the date, the clone
No, I
date.
mean the plant that she took the clones off of. Do
Oh,
you
I
know
don't
how old
know.
that plant is? The
Yeah, I
mother?
don't know.
That's
I think
generally
she.
when I start seeing threes. Like when it starts throwing threes, I start looking in a different direction. Just personally, not saying anything,
There's fives on here. I got tons of fives.
right?
I just some of them have 3 leaves. So it's kind of crazy.
I start asking myself questions on threes, but but I'm always looking for a reason to doubt myself. I'm that way.
Right. After
But
420,
I,
we'll cut some clippings off and stick them in some dirt. I'm letting the dirt warm up a little bit as well.
but I tell you this: a paranoid grower makes a good grower.
Yeah.
You know, just remember that a paranoid grower makes a good grower.
Yeah. I'm always
You know,
paranoid myself.
yep. Look for bugs all the time. Look for mold. Look for PM. Look for it. Just be paranoid. Always be paranoid,
Yeah.
and shit'll go smooth.
That's right.
Well, smoother.
So yeah, I'm up. I'm gonna give these about another week before I throw them in the flower, and then I'm gonna switch it to 12-hour light cycle.
I
And
think you're gonna be. Have you ever grown? Have you ever grown autoflowers before?
I grew autoflowers last year. I grew 4 autoflowers last year.
Hey, good morning, Mary.
Good morning,
Getting that
Mary.
housework done. Glad you tuned in.
Thanks for tuning in while you're doing your housework. I grew four
Indeed.
autoflowers last year. I fucked up and topped them last year, and I didn't get a top bud, so I didn't get a lot of weed off of them.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. Autoflowers, just plant them and let them go. The only thing,
yes,
the only limbs that you need to take off are the ones that come out with your Mickey Mouse ears on a seedling.
yeah.
Just reach down there and go pinch, pinch, and let everything else go. Good morning. Good
Um,
morning.
the good thing about autoflowers is you can leave your light on 24 hours a day for the whole
Mhm.
growth. Like, and it'll grow fast. So like you'll have weed. And you said your plants are about a month old.
Yeah, yeah.
You'll be
Mine are right
ready.
out of month. I
You'll be
planted
ready
them
to
May
chop. You'll be ready to
5th.
chop in like 2.5, 3 more months. You'll be ready to chop. You know.
Oh yeah, I'm
So
looking at like July 4th, July 10th, somewhere in there.
yeah. Um, you might not get the yield because of the light cycle not being as long.
Close lesson. A hug or a dab.
The it was a dab. They wanted a dab, so I took a dab for them.
Who do we got on the 420 today?
Yeah, who's on the 420 today?
Are we going to be bankrupt again? Is that what we're doing?
Is that what you want?
Sure.
I can bankrupt.
I like bankrupt. I like them all. Actually, I like all the songs. So whatever you choose is good for me.
All right, bankrupt it is. Let's go. We're gonna do it.
Let's
All
go.
right,
Happy
you guys.
420, everybody. Pack them up. Roll them up.
Happy 420, everybody.
420 somewhere. Pack it up. We'll be back right after this. We're going to bankrupt it here in just a minute.
What's up, Bong Ripper? How are you? Good morning, everybody. I can't find the damn song, so it's too early. Bankrupt. Here we go.
Oh man, that looks like it's our last one, man.
That is our last one, man.
Good thing we can scrape the pipe, bro. Never gonna be bankrupt again. 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 Gee! Morning had to scrape my pipe. Knew that when I went to bed last night. Had a premonition in my head that I never gonna wake bankrupt again. Jumped on my bike and pedaled downtown on the lookout for the one John Brown. Found him in a corner parking lot smoking spliffs and said, "Here, man, you want to take a hit?" I said, "I'm never gonna be bankrupt again. Never gonna be bankrupt again. Never gonna be bankrupt again. Never gonna be bankrupt again." Went back home to put the seeds in the soil. Compost recipe from brethren I know. Water pH to 6.1. Jah in control of the ebb and flow. Planting seeds, putting flower in my hand so that I will never awake bankrupt again. I said I'm never gonna be bankrupt again. 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 Always bringing flower to my friends. Always connecting to the music of medicine. Always finding ways to sing. Positivity and healing vibes. Always attracting my tribe. Always vulnerable to the tides. Always accountable for my strides. Holding on, not folding beyond. Letting go and letting you know. Bankrupt isn't never gonna be a part of my flow. I said I'm never gonna be bankrupt again. 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 Driving around, I see John Brown and said, "Dead man," him said, "They're never gonna be bankrupt again." I said, "Hey John Brown, can I give you a hand so that you yourself will never be bankrupt again?" I said, never gonna be bankrupt again. 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 Wah!
All right.
Mucho.
We are back. Happy
We are back.
420, everybody.
I hope it was a good one. Hope you all got lit.
Got good and baked. I know I did. I had to do some technical stuff. I had to refresh. So I'm glad to be back. Yep.
All right.
All right.
So we are gonna cut some clones off.
Tommy, thanks for the happy birthday you all yesterday. It means a lot. Well, happy belated birthday, Tommy.
Yeah, happy belated birthday, Tommy. Always wear gloves so you don't want your fingers to be sticky. And Clonex doesn't really. It feels weird on your fingers because it's gel. It's purple.
Oh, okay. Usually I just dip. Oopsie OG. Yeah, everybody's got that stray, hippie. Everybody's got that stray. Oopsie OG.
Oopsie OG. No, we're not doing the Oopsie OG. Hopefully this time it works. Like last week, you want to trim it at a 45-degree angle. And these lower. Got a little clip. You just get this other little guy a little clip. And you dip her in the Clonex. You dip her in the Clonex.
Oh, you make giant clone. That's big.
Well, I cut it closer to the stem.
Right?
And that's actually the lowest branch on that particular plant.
That's good.
And then I got water in my cloning blocks already. I did
See,
dump a
this
little
is
Clonex in there.
maybe I'll do a cloning show too. Then I'll show my method because me and Jimmy, we got two completely, totally different methods of how we do it. But you still wind up at the same.
That's how I read to do
You
it.
still wind up at the same place.
Yeah, that's how I read about it, how to do it yesterday. So that's why I'm doing it this way.
A lot of purple. Purple can be genetic, absolutely, but also purple can be a sign like it's short on CalMag, manganese mainly, magnesium.
So it also could be a sign of stress. If your stems turn purple, it's usually a sign of stress.
But yeah, the solo burger ain't no joke, man. That's some good weed. I like it. Hey, room at Jimmy Fresh. Just pop some apple fritter and black cherry gusher beans. I'll have some
Yeah, cut a
cuts.
little smaller guy for you.
Oh, DWC. Hell yeah. I like DW. If you can commit to the time, and you got a good stable spot, DWC is the way to go if you want like to make a lot of weed real fast. I like DWC.
So cut this
There
guy a
you
little
go. I like
smaller.
that.
You want to let it sit in the gel for a minute so it gets in there.
Absolutely. That's what I like about my powder. I mean, you dip it in a little bit of water, then you dip it in that powder, and it's on there. It's not. It cakes on there. It doesn't come off. It doesn't wash off. It sticks.
Right.
I like it. But yeah, solo burger, man, that makes me jealous. I have to go to the dispensary. Give me some dispo weed. I'm just kidding. I ain't going to the dispensary.
Don't go to the dispensary. Go
Exactly.
to the dispensary and grow it
I'm
in your
just kidding. I
yard.
ain't going.
You got one growing in your yard.
Right? I got a dispensary in my yard. Exactly. And you say you're using Clonex? Is that what you're using?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, they've been around for a long old time. Them and Olivia's.
Yep. That's why I'm using them because it's been around for a while.
I remember back in the day, there wasn't anything else.
Some people trim some of the leaves. I don't know what that does, to be honest with you. Maybe Mucho can answer that. But some
Chopping
people
the leaves.
they'll cut the leaves like around like right like this one right here. They'll cut these three tips off.
Uh-huh.
But I don't know anything about that, so that's why I never really.
I've never subscribed to it. It's people think it's less to keep alive because basically all you're doing is that rooting hormone and the Clonex and the gels. That's basically keeping the cutting alive while roots are being made. That's
Right.
all it's doing. So some people subscribe to the less top to keep alive. Can divert more energy to making roots. So I usually just trim it up. I usually have like one set of 5 and then the growth, popping out the top. Maybe 2 sets of 5 and a growth popping out the top. Usually my clones are about 3-4 inches tall, max. Just for that reason. But
Yeah.
I've never subscribed. Yeah, yep, there you go. I've never subscribed to trimming it up, But a lot of people do it. And it works. It's just I've never done it. Yep. Like I said, these are only suggestions. These aren't the way. If you got a way that works for you every time, we can go out and find as many people cloning. You find 5 people, you'll find 5 different methods of cloning.
Right.
So, but we all wind up at the same place. That's the whole thing. What we're after is success at the end of the day. We want nice, sticky, dank buds is what we're after.
Right.
It's not a competition. It's not a competition. We all win.
We all win. As long as the clone works, we all win.
We all win.
Yeah, I got all 4 of these cut.
Yeah, if you're needing 4 clones, make 6. Make 8. Serious. You can always give them away. You can throw them away.
Yep.
Best time to take a clone is into flowering. It's best time or 6 weeks. Now, I never take a clone into flower because if you're in flower, that's a whole different set of hormones that's going on. And
We talked about
I
that last
prefer
week.
not, I've seen it done, but boy, you got to sit there. You got to wait for like a month for that plant to revert back to vegetative state before it
Right.
starts doing anything for real. So I try to always take my clones before you flip them.
You know what? I'm going to take one more.
I'm a straight into soil guy, hippie. I'm straight into soil. I'll do my cuts. I'll dip it. I'll hit it with the powder, and I'll put it right in the medium, right in soil. Um, I do my own cocoa core blend, so I can adjust what's in it and what's not in it. But yeah, go right into soil and give it 2 weeks, 3 weeks. If it's still making green tops, it's starting to grow. Right into
Yeah, you should know within a week if it's going to make it or not.
you cut above or below the. I always cut below the node about maybe a half an inch, and then I'll take a razor blade and I'll cut that node. Where the leaves are coming out. I'll cut it straight along the stem, and that exposes a lot more of that cambium that under that the area that the roots come out of. Exposes a lot more of it, and it just doubles and triples your chances at making roots at every. Otherwise, you only have roots coming out that one little cut in the bottom. That's the only
Yeah.
chance you got to make roots. If you cut along the sides and dip it, more chances to make roots. So, but yeah, I always cut a little below. Tommy Grows, Hydro, Bubble Ponics, or DW? Yep. I used to do DW. Back in Colorado, I did DW a lot. But back in the day in Colorado, weight was the name. Weight was the name. There was no big grows when Colorado first went legal. There were no giant grow houses supplying. It was a lot of people like me and Jimmy Fresh running down to the Front Range, and supplying the dispensaries. Those were true Wild West days.
The true
What's the
Wild West
ideal
days.
humidity and temp range for clones to root properly? Jimmy, you want to take that one?
So these ones I'm going to put in a closet, and I got them on a heat pad. You want to keep it a little more humid. You want it like 75% humidity, 85% humidity. You got to think about an incubator, like in a baby. Like when a baby's born, you need to put it in an incubator, right? So it's kind of the same concept. Um, there we go. But 80 degrees, 85% humidity-ish is good. You don't want it so humid to where it's like the rainforest, but you want it humid enough to where it's like a greenhouse. You know,
Noticeably humid. Noticeably
you want to
humid.
noticeably humid. Yes, that's why I
Uh,
put
what what strains are you cutting right now?
these are mimosa evos. These are the ones I got for free. Um, so yeah,
Mimosa.
they're from Barney's Farm out of Amsterdam. So
Cool.
I think that's where the Skittle seeds that she gave me too came from as well. There's a couple other places I've seen in Cleveland that do clones here in Ohio. There's clones, and then there's another one. I can't remember the name of it. And I just found another grocery store in Cleveland that sells seeds as well, and also clones. So when weed became legal here recreationally, and they said you can grow it, it kind of took off. Everyone's like, oh, well, let's grow. So everyone started selling seeds. Like there's a head shop down the street from me in a little shopping center. They started selling seeds. They sell Royal Queen seeds, which I used last year, which I was really, really happy with. They had phenomenal seeds. I didn't have any problems. They all flowered. I got a good amount of weed. I mean, it's not as much as I could have got, but I had 6 plants in this 4x4 tent,
Mhm.
and that's too much. You know, 2 of them were photo and 4 of them were autoflower. You know, I should have put the photos outside and left the autoflowers in here. You know,
Yeah. Well, live and learn. Now you know.
um,
See,
yeah.
good
Like
Tommy's
if I just
getting
like those, I'm just gonna put it in this little closet. I got this closet right here with a light, with a grow light in it.
There you go.
I got them on this desk, on my old desk, because I had recently got a new desk. Um, but this, hopefully these work out. They're not drooping yet. Last week they were drooping pretty quick. So, like I said, I'm pretty sure I did. I feel like I did it wrong last week, but I was gonna top them regardless. I just wanted to see if I can get the tops to clone.
Right on.
You
Yeah.
know,
It's just, like I said, it's just how you're taught. I've never had success cloning tops. Never have. Some people have tremendous success doing it. I don't. But I've always had really good
well, I didn't.
success using the lower limbs.
I did not have success cloning tops either. So I feel
Yep.
there can.
Yeah, exactly. We're in the same boat.
I did play taps for them when I threw them away.
How do I sterilize my tools before taking clones? Usually just some 90% alcohol on a tissue and then wipe it right down a razor blade and you are good to go.
Yeah, I did all that prior to cutting them.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, oh, use flame, use this, do that. 90% alcohol, let it air dry, and it's as
Yeah.
good as it's going to get. Dude, I took clones with dirty razor blades. You know, I took clones not wearing gloves. You know,
Hey, you don't have to wear gloves. You don't even have to sterilize.
it's a hardy, yes, it's a hardy plant, but especially growing indoors, you know, you want to take all the precaution you can. Outside, not, I mean, outside is outside.
I don't need hot pockets. But no, I did not
Joe.
forget them. I kept an eye on them for 3 days, and then when I seen they weren't even trying to stand up, I was just like, yeah, I'm throwing them away.
Yep. Yep. They're pretty
Let's see how it
hardy.
goes this time.
Yeah, they're pretty. Like I said, here in another couple of weeks, I might do a Sunday morning show where I'm gonna go out there and take some clones, bring them in here, and clone them up. Show you the Mucho method. It's about as kindergarten as it gets, y'all. So it's a good spot to start.
Right. So I took 5 clones. We'll see what
Morning,
happens.
Andy.
Good morning, Andy. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. See how it goes. Like I said, my general rule of thumb is I make as many clones as I
Is,
possibly can.
is this what it's gonna be? Is this what it's gonna be where you're gonna rag on Jimmy for messing up?
Ask you for it.
Everyone makes mistakes, my guy. Everyone makes mistakes. Nobody's the perfect grower.
It's tea, Jim. I'll send you some new cuts. There you go.
Thanks,
Well,
guys. I
that's my
appreciate that.
I mean, clutch and cookies. I've been growing for a year and a half now. Oh, cool.
Nice.
Yeah, I've got a pretty fire cut of grape balls of fire from Ethos. Got a pretty fine cut of AK crossed with skunk hero from Ethos, and they're pretty dank. So I'm gonna run with that for a minute. And then I've
What's
got
what?
my Mephisto autoflower seeds, so the double grapes.
Which ones are you gonna clone?
I'm gonna clone the AK skunk hero and the grape balls of fire.
Nice.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm like I say, although I've only got slots for a couple of more plants, I'm gonna make a dozen clones. So because some of them's gonna die, and then I mean the rest of them you can either throw them away, give them away, spread the love. It's yeah.
Right.
The easiest. Let's see. I've never really had a strain that is harder to clone than another. I will
Yes,
say
you gave me the Mimosa Evos. Yes.
that I've had some strains back in the old day. We had to cut a blueberry diesel. It was a complete accident, but it turned out to be a banger of a strain. You could basically go out and cut a limb off, you know, put a little Clonex on the end of it and like throw it in the ground like a lawn dart, and it would take off. You know, it did not need any maintenance. It was very good cloner, but other than that, everything usually clones. It's just a lot of things are temperature sensitive. Lonnie, what's up, Lonnie? How you doing? Lonnie is a friend of mine from the UK. He just recently got his medical marijuana card. He is a legal beagle in the UK now. Welcome to the club, Lonnie.
Welcome to the club, Lenny. Yeah, I'm about to throw these in the flower she grows. We're about to flower them. The girl that gave me the clones is in here.
Oh, cool.
So she just watched me make more clones. She's going to tell me I did it
There
wrong.
you go.
Tell me I did it wrong. Tell me I did it wrong. But yeah, they're doing good. Everything's good with them. They've grown so much. So we'll see how these clones do and see what happens. So Mucho, you said you got rooting powder?
I do. Matter of fact, I might have it handy enough to grab here real quick. All right. Let's see. Here it is.
I seen a
You
fly.
know what?
I
I
seen a
don't
fly
spend a whole lot of
online.
money. You find it at Walmart. It's about $10.
I
It's dark.
did not see that at Walmart.
It's called Take Root. Take Root at Walmart. It is a powder.
Hmm.
Oh shit! Now I'm gonna grow roots on my legs. But yeah, it's just a powder, and you just take your cutting. You get
The
it
good
all
thing,
adjusted like you needed. Dip it in water. Dip it in that, and it forms like a little cast, like a little powder cast all around the bottom of it.
the
And
good thing about the powder doesn't go bad where the gel goes bad.
mm-hmm. Yep. One of the best things I ever did, what personally for myself, was you started using the powder. You know.
Right. I got worried and seen a fly. I'm worried that so I sprayed them down with neem oil. And I've been giving them a the foliar spray.
hmm
I made a foliar spray out of earthworm
Oh, excellent.
castings. You know,
They love that. Uh-oh. Dang, we're out of time. Well, 10 more minutes. 10 more minutes. I was looking at her.
10 more
But
minutes.
yeah,
You
we
got
made it.
dyslexia,
Yeah, I got Lex this year.
Lex
Um,
dyslexia.
yeah. Yeah. The foliar spray ain't no joke. Have you noticed any kind of a big difference?
Oh yeah, like I had brown leaves when I sprayed it on there the first time, and 2 days
hmm
later I didn't have one brown leaf.
hmm Yeah, foliar feeding ain't no joke, folks. If you don't do it, I would suggest you would look into it. It's super
Right.
easy, and it works wonders for your plants. When you can't get
Well,
it, if you've been giving it this and that and the other to the soil, and your plant's not reacting or doing it, give it a foliar feedings and watch.
another good thing to do is I also made what I the foliar feed. When I made the foliar feed, I made a jar of super potent tea, and I shook it up because I couldn't find a bubbler, the air pump that you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
The Walmarts around here, they don't have the fish sections anymore, so they don't
Oh,
have
damn.
any of the good cheap shit anymore. So every day, a couple times a day, I shook it up real hard, real hard, made it so all that poop was breaking up, and releasing it into the water, and that's why it's so brown. But I dumped that with all the earthworm castings and all that. I split one big jar. I made it in this jar. There's a big jar.
Mm-hmm.
It's the big jar. It's the 3 pint, 4 pint jar.
Uh-huh. Is that half a gallon? Uh-oh. Did your phone die? Oh, there went Jimmy.
I
Oh, there he
split
is.
this. I split this one jar between 4 plants, and
Oh,
I made
okay.
it super super strong. I left the castings in there and everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So plus the castings I got have other stuff in them. They're not. It's not just castings.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Um,
yeah.
but there's actually instructions on the bag on how to do it. So if you have questions, you don't remember what we talked about, all you gotta do is read the instructions on the bag. It tells you how to feed them, tells you how to make the tea, tells you how to do the bucket method like Mucho does with the air bubbler. Um, you leave it 24 hours in a bucket with an air bubbler. It takes like a pound of it, and I got like a 4 pound bag or something. And you give it to them. You give that to them. You're supposed to do it once a month. So
Yeah. Yeah. And you can adjust that recipe too. If you only want to use a half a pound, and a half a gallon of water, or what, you can adjust your recipe too. You don't have to, you know, but just using it, period, you're going to see a big difference in your plants.
right.
Using it at the suggested full strength, you'll see a huge difference in your plants.
Yeah, I just followed the instructions on the bag. I mean, I remember what we talked about, but I was like, well, maybe the bag might say something different.
Hmm.
It didn't. It didn't. It said the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like I said, if it ain't broke, don't fix
Don't
it.
fix
Just
it. Don't fix it.
Grand Rising to you, DC. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, DC. But yeah, these actually have some smell to them already. As soon as they got over a foot tall, they started stinking.
Good. That's real good.
Um, so and I got a feeling when they bud, I don't think I'm gonna get a ton off them. I'll probably get maybe 2 ounces off each plant. They'll probably
Yeah,
start them before they're finished flowering.
I'm looking forward to these great balls of fire. Actually, they're already. I mean, they're not even a month old, and you can already smell them. I mean, that's a good sign. That's a very good sign.
Yep.
So usually they just smell like plants. They just smell like vegetative
Yeah,
matter.
no,
These are like
these you could tell it's growing weed.
right,
You know.
and that's a biggie. That's a biggie. Like I said, well, comes down to what we say it every week. It's genetics, y'all. Genetics, genetics.
Yeah, Barney's Farm is one of the best. Is one of the better sites to get stuff from because it comes
Mhm.
from Amsterdam, and Amsterdam is like the king of the weed. You know. So
Yeah, I actually got my auto flowers from Mephisto seeds are out of Spain. But right
yeah,
now, Mephisto is running away with every autoflower award there is. They take it home. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to spend some money at your shop. Let's see what you got. And other than that, I usually grow ethos. If you can afford the ethos top shelf lines, anything um, like any of their grandpa's series, oh my God. Yeah, ethos is pretty good. Uh, what else? I like Rasta Jeff, over at Irie Genetics. But yeah, if you find a strain or you find a seed supplier or a broker or whoever that stick with it. And if you find a strain that you really, really like, buy more seeds because you
right.
can't guarantee. I would pay $100 a seed if I could find some old school purple voodoo like I grew from like 10 years ago. Can't be found. That strain is gone. You know, same thing with sour diesel from like, let's say 2006 sour diesel.
Red diesel is gone too.
You know,
That's
it's so
California
washed out
sour
now.
diesel.
It's completely gone. It's completely gone. You'll never find that old school sour diesel, smack you in the face sour diesel ever again. You'll get cuts that are close, but that has been washed out. So, but that's what I like about if you find a supplier that's got those good flavors and stuff that you like, those profiles, stick with them and buy a lot of seeds. So, because
Right.
you can't never tell how long it's going to be here.
Correct. But yeah, pay attention to your genetics when you buy. You know, don't just go with a seed because it's cheap. I did that and had no success.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'd like to thank everyone for hanging out. I appreciate everybody.
Absolutely. We had quite a few people. Thanks for all the new people coming in. Like I said, don't forget to hit the old subscribe and like button. Don't forget to share us out. It would help Hippie and everyone here at WTHC Radio here at the channel. You know, so we just show up and talk about weed. You know, we're just trying to help with Hippie here, and he's a good dude, and we appreciate what he does and everything he does for the weed culture and the weed industry. So, y'all support would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys for hanging out.
Yeah.
So you said next week you're gonna do yours?
Possibly. I'll see what I got going on. I'll wait. It might be 2 more weeks before I'm able to do clones. We'll see. It's supposed to be good and hot and sunny, so they may just pop way on up. So I could always run out there and just grab some, chop them off and bring them in and clone them up real quick. That's usually pretty easy.
Right. Well, I'm gonna go.
But yeah,
we'll
see how the growth stage goes this week.
Right. Well,
That's the whole thing. When it's raining, they're making roots. They're not growing tops when it's raining, but when the sun pops out, those tops got to catch up to the roots. I'm going to see some crazy growth.
Yes, sir. All right, well, we'll see you guys next week. I hope you guys have a good rest of the week and enjoy the rest of your day.
Absolutely, everybody go roll you up one and sit back, smoke it down, and have a good Sunday. And like I said, we'll be back next Sunday, same time. What was it, 7 Central, 8 o'clock Eastern?
Yep.
And I'm sure we'll find something else, some other kind of trouble to get into. We'll do an update on Jimmy's clones. We'll see what's going on.
We'll see what's going on with them. Yep.
What's going on with those clones? But otherwise, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Like I said, like, share, and subscribe. And like I said, we'll be back next week at the same time to do it up again. And until then, you guys keep it up. You know, stay safe.
Same bad time, same bad.
This production is brought to you by DHBN, WTHC Radio, and Stoner Records.
Welcome to the room where the green vibes flow, where the lights shine bright and the knowledge will grow. From soil to the sun, we'll master the art to grow rooms, the place, let's spark up the start. The grow room where the secrets bloom, plant your dreams, watch them consume. We'll guide the buds to a perfect tune, step inside, it's the grow room.